All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen, to all of our viewers, listeners, supporters, subscribers to everyone. Jabbar Brown here with you from the musiciantrainingcenter.com. I also want to take this opportunity to say a special thanks to all of you as well, our listeners, our viewers, subscribers, supporters. To all of you, I want to say a special thank you. Um, Today, we want to show you something a little bit different. I've been asked, from time to time about talk music, and so we want to touch a little bit on that, and I want to show you some things that I do to create talk music. All right, so y'all come on in. Let's have a little fun with this and let's break some of this down. All right, let's get started. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about how I play talk music or how I approach talk music. Okay, something I've been doing a lot lately. Um, let's do a couple of things. First, we'll try to base both examples in the key of G flat. We'll take a song, Anisha, Holy One. All right. All right. So what I'm going to do, let's take maybe, and we're at the verse. Days almost now. All right. All right, so we'll take, let's take these chords. Let's take this, and then we'll just kind of expand these chords. And I'll show you how I create talk music by, in this example, just using 4 chords. All right, so we'll do this chord, and let's do this. This chord and this chord. So again, we'll use 1, 2, third chord, and the 4th chord. All right. So first of all, one of the things that I'll do is, if I know that we're approaching a point in the service where talk music is necessary. Okay, maybe it's announcements. All right. Sometimes I'll go ahead and prepare myself. I might think of a song, and I'm not necessarily going to play the whole song. I may just take a handful of chords like what we did now. The first thing that I'll do, and that what I have been doing lately, and I found it works well when you have when you're playing Rhodes. Also, maybe you can layer pads and strings. I found that it works very well. It creates a nice sound. It creates a nice little vibe. So I'm going to take this chord. It's our B major 9, right? And let's make it a 13. Okay. What I'm doing is going to be very simple. Okay, and it's a bit random. So I'm only going to take maybe a note in the right hand. Maybe we'll do 2. And we're only going to maybe drop a half step. Maybe we'll go up a half step. So this is all about taking half step movements and creating talk music. So you're using primary chords like this. So I decide, you know what? Let me expand that chord. Instead of it being a 9, let's make it a 13. And instead of actually playing the song, let me move B being the root, all right, the bass note. Let's move while we sustain. So I'm just going to play random chords, all right? So I'll start here. All right, I'm just going to use half step movements. All right, another half step movement, and then more half steps, more half steps. All right. So now I took what would have been a song, and instead of actually playing the actual song, I'm just taking the chords and I'm just going to move around. All right. We can take it a step further. And since we're in the key of G flat, I'll do that again. All right. And I actually did this by mistake. Like one time I was just playing, and no, I won't say it was a mistake. I took a chance. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna do something random, and it turned out sounding pretty nice. It was decent. It was different, and so I've been experimenting with it lately. And really, the method to the madness is just half steps, half step movements. So let's take it a step further, right? So we're in the key of G flat, right? And okay. With this particular approach, I'm still thinking half steps, half step movements, but now I'm also thinking I'm going to move around. I'm going to maneuver in the key of G flat. I might play some major chords. I might play some minor chords. But keep in mind, every chord that I'm going to play is going to be based upon one of these notes. This is going to be the bass note. This is going to be our root note. Okay? So we're really basing it off of, and for this example, the G flat major scale. Okay? So the first example was just all about taking maybe a part of a song, and we're going to pivot on each chord. We can either expand it. Okay, we stretched it out. We made that 9 or 13 chord, and then we just moved. Again, most of the time I focus on these two fingers. So in this case for me, okay, first finger, middle finger, pointer, middle finger. All right, I'm focusing on those two to move. Now don't get me wrong, we can also use the pinky, but in this situation, we're just focusing on, okay, we're focusing on these two fingers to kind of move us around with these chords. All right. Half step. All right. Now this time, that one wasn't necessarily a half step. In the left hand, it was whole step down. So we can do whole steps and we can do half steps. All right. Now let's take this next example. Again, G flat major scale. Every chord we want to base it off of one of these notes. All right. So I'm just going to play some random chords. All right. And this is something that I do to this is how I approach talk music oftentimes. Okay. Random chords. So let's start here. Right? So now I'm really just playing random chords, nothing premeditated, nothing rehearsed. I know that I'm going to D flat, and I'm going to B. some chords that I play, I know what they are. Like this particular chord, I played this chord before. You know, it's D flat 7, but it's a familiar concept, like or. So I'm kind of familiar with that sound. At least I know the sound of it. All right, so we're on B. I know we're going to B flat. I know we're going to A flat. Then I know we're going back to G flat. Okay, so I'm going to do it again. I'm just going to play random chords. We're going to take out the pads and we'll do it again. And the key to this is not necessarily thinking too hard. You don't want to think, well, what am I going to do next? I'm going to go to F. What am I going to do? I'm going to go to E flat. What am I going to play? It's really all about just, if I could say, effortlessly flowing. Make up in your mind that you're going to be in a particular key. Now you can actually, you can take this approach and really you can do anything with it. You can go from G flat to A flat, to B to D flat. And when I say these different keys, I mean right now we're considering G flat major. Okay, but you can really take this and expand it. The sky is the limit, for lack of better words. You can go from your G flat. And I don't want to get too deep into that. I want to stay on this. But let's just say we went to G flat to A flat major. Okay. To D flat major. So the thing that I do know, based upon my intention, is I'm going to be in G flat. So if I know my G flat major scale, I know I'm going from G flat. Either I'm going to go up the scale, G flat, A flat, B flat, B, or I'm going to go down the scale. Okay? So again, this time, more random chords, nothing rehearsed, premeditated or anything like that. And we're going to go down the scale, G flat major scale. I'm going to take the pads out. And this particular time, I'm not just we're going to go down the G flat major scale, but let's also jump outside of that scale. And we'll do half step movements. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right. So let's get started. E flat, D flat. I'm gonna stay on that D flat, B. All right. I'm going to B flat, A flat, G flat. Okay, so I could continue to go on and on and on and on. It's almost like you're just, the sky is the limit. You can just continue to play chord after chord after chord. Now, I will also say this. If you know a lot of chords, like for example, when we got to this D flat, all right, this is a pretty simple chord, all right? So if you know this chord, maybe you also know this, and you know you're going to move here. You probably already know that chord. So some of these movements will be on chords that you already know. And so the method to the madness is, one, I'm going to make up in my mind, where do I want to be? Or at least where do I want to start from? We want to start on G flat, in the G flat major scale. We want to start there. And then if I want to be even more creative, then we could go from that G flat major scale and I could think, let's go A flat. Let's go D flat major. So now it's like infinite chords. It's infinite movements because I'm going from chord to chord, but I'm taking my time as well. So you don't need to rush to go from any place, any chord. You don't have to rush to go anywhere. Let me go to a C. Okay. Now let me do something really weird, and let's go to, I know I'm going to B. All right. Go to B flat. I'm gonna drop back down to that A. All right. Then I'm going to B, A flat. Let's drop down again. So what did I do just now? Another thing that I added, I started here. I'm still on G. So now I'm just kind of expanding this chord. I start here, two finger chord in the second, in the left hand. But I say, you know what, I'm gonna stay on that G. Let me just add a B flat. And then going right back to, I said I was gonna take the pads out. And I put the pads right back in. So all right, so what was that I just did? First of all, I said, you know, I'm gonna drop down to this G. Kind of familiar with this chord. I'm gonna stay on the G, and let me just come up. All right, so I got room, because I don't want to put the B flat here at the bottom. It would be muddy, right? So I'm gonna relax on that G. Now, while I'm in the key of G flat still, I know I'm going back to G flat. Okay, so we're back to that 9 chord again, right? So I'm thinking, I just picked the spot. And notice that these 2 finger chords are within or right in line with the G flat major scale. You can start anywhere. And you don't necessarily have to go down in this order. So I'm going to G, I'm gonna rest on that G, and then we're going to our G flat, but I'm going to rest there. Now this is all about working the sustain pedal, okay? Because you want to try to be smooth with it. Now if I did not work the sustain pedal, okay, then it would be which that actually works. Okay? So let's see if I did not use the sustain pedal at all. That actually works as well. So in essence, what I'm saying is you can use half step and whole step movements while playing chords in a key. Okay? You might be saying, well, what chords am I going to play? Or how do I get started? One thing that will help you is think about a song. In this case, I thought about A Nation, Holy One, right? So if you start to get used to thinking about songs when you know that you're approaching a point in a service or an event where talk music is necessary, then go ahead and start thinking about something simple. Simplicity is key. You want to start simple, nice solid foundation, just 4 chords. We started with 4 chords. And then from there, once you've kind of, gotten into the groove, or once you've gotten started with at least those 4 chords, then you can kind of expand. You say, you know what? Well, I'm already in the key of G flat major, so why don't I just pick a spot in the G flat major scale? It doesn't have to be G flat. It could be on B, which is the 4 of G flat. You can start from there. Okay? well, what's a chord that I know in G flat major? Well, on the G in the G flat major scale that I would use, maybe on the 4. Okay, I would use this chord. All right, but what I decided to do was expand this chord, being a 9, a major 9, to a 13, and then from there, then we started thinking about half step movements. Okay, now you might ask, well, why didn't I keep that G flat there? Well, I knew I was going to go a half step down in my right hand. So my left hand, I want to think complement. I want to try to complement my right hand. Not necessarily do everything in my left hand that I'm going to do in my right hand, but I at least want to complement. So I'm thinking with these 2 fingers, and in my left hand, I'm thinking, all right, I know I'm going to drop down to an A, so I'll just use that thumb. All right, and then as you keep, all right, I'm also familiar with this chord that I do sometimes, G flat major, and then I know I'm going to this E flat. So these are things that I'm thinking about in my head, and it's almost instinctive. It's like, I know I'm going to the 6, so I'm gonna drop down to C, and I might just start thinking, you know what, B flat, A flat, G flat, F, E flat, D flat, C, B flat, stay at B flat, A flat, and you can actually create a pattern. All right, I'm going back to F. All right, random chord. Now with the random chords, here's the thing about random chords. At least here's my thing with these random chords. Sometimes it's either hit or miss. That chord that I did on the 7, which is F, I wasn't necessarily sure if it would work, but I knew I wanted to try to go to this A. So it actually works, but barely. Weird, just weird. And this is stuff that I do. And I could probably actually leave this bottom note out. Okay, so this is what I do. All right, so what I want you to be able to take away from this lesson is, since we're talking about talk music, sometimes you can get stuck and you don't really know what to play, and you're thinking, well, how do I even get started with talk music? What is talk music to me? What is talk music to me? Talk music to me is just random chords, but I want to make sure that these chords at least make sense. Okay, so I'm not necessarily going to play the circle of fourths or the circle of fifths, and you can actually use that as talk music, but after a while you'll probably, it'll start to sound redundant. Maybe. It just depends on how creative you are. All right. Random chords. Think starting out in a particular key, maybe your favorite key. If your key is C, you can start there, and you're thinking about either a song. Take a simple song. You don't necessarily have to play the whole song. Just think of, in this case, we took 4 chords in the song, and we used that as a platform to approach talk music. And then once you get started, a lot of times all you have to do is just get started. Then once you get started, then think, since I'm in the key of G flat, why don't I just kind of play around with the G flat major scale? All right, we did that. We played around in the G flat major scale. Why don't we take it a step further? I'm still thinking G flat major scale, But along the lines of that G flat major, or along the way in that G flat major scale, I'm going to do some half step movements outside of the G flat major scale. F, E, half step down. But I'm still thinking G flat major scale, so I don't want to go anywhere too far. E flat, D flat, C, B, B flat, A, B flat, G, okay, G flat. And then sometimes when you stay on a note, you don't have to be in a hurry. That's the thing about talk music. You can control that. You don't have to be in a hurry. There's no metronome, there's no timer or anything like that. You take your time. You can move from chord to chord fast. You can stay on one note for about 10 or 15 seconds and just move half steps, just move around with that particular chord using half steps. So really you can create, and I'm just saying infinite chords by this method. Taking half step movements, starting simple, and once you get started, then you can continue to expand on that idea, expand on that foundation. You can use songs, you can just go to a key, and you can use, this this method might be kind of weird. Again, it's just something that I do. I don't necessarily, have a name for it, but we are using half steps and whole step movements. We are using half step and whole step movements, and we're basing everything, at least starting, in a key. All right. So I hope that this tutorial has been a blessing to you. I know that it's probably a little different, but talk music, I think, is a very important part of the service. Sometimes if you don't know what to do, and you're approaching a point in the service where talk music is actually necessary because there's no singing going on. Maybe your particular ministry, y'all don't play music through the system to kind of compensate or make up for that. So it might just be up to you. You have to carry the service playing music. So you understand this particular point of the service is going to require talk music. We might be doing some announcements. Then again, this moment might be an encouraging moment for somebody. One of the members, maybe the pastor, might be taking an opportunity to encourage the congregation or encourage and empower a particular individual based upon the direct inspiration from the Lord, right? So talk music is going to be necessary. You want to make sure that you help create that atmosphere and stabilize that atmosphere for whatever is necessary. Okay? Now, we can continue to go further and further, deeper and deeper and deeper with this particular lesson, but I believe at least this is a great start. And this is something, again, that I've been doing a lot lately with these half step and these whole step movements. So my challenge to you is, I didn't do a lot of breaking down of the chords, but I tried to make sure I slow down so that you can see what I'm doing, because they're so random and then there's so many chords. And then you could actually use some chords, but in this particular example, I didn't focus on specific chords, but just actually movements and flowing from chord to chord using half step and whole step movements. All right, so hopefully that makes sense to you. But my challenge again to you is maybe go to a key that you like. Maybe you can go to this G flat key, and you can use the chords that we played here. And then also go to another key and use your arsenal of chords and kind of experiment with, this same little method of half step, whole step movements. All right. And I'd love to hear back. You guys drop a comment. Let me know how it went for you. Let me know if you discovered a new chord, at least for you. Sometimes, and I'll say this, and we'll just kind of wrap it up. Sometimes you can do things like this and take a chance. Like I said, I did. I took a chance, Said, I'm just gonna try this. I'm just gonna drop 2 notes, a half step. I don't know how it's gonna sound. I'm just gonna do it. And you end up discovering new chords. All right. And it also helps to expand your ear because you're playing chords that you might not be used to. Sometimes when you hear chords that you're not used to hearing, you think it doesn't sound good. But when you listen back on a recording, if you have that privilege, when you listen back, you're thinking to yourself, wow, that chord actually sounds good, but I thought I messed up. Well, you thought you messed up, but the chord actually sounded good. So it's an opportunity that you can use to develop your ear. All right. So enough of that. I think you guys get the point, ladies and gentlemen. I think you get the point. So again, I hope that this tutorial, this lesson has been a blessing to you. And I want to encourage you guys and ladies to continue to practice hard, practice smart, and yet have fun with this idea and this crazy method of mine. Have fun with it. Do your thing, and take it to the next level. You guys are creative, ladies. You are creative. You are unique. You are wonderfully made. You guys and ladies are amazing people and musicians. So let's continue on this journey together. Let's do the work and see the results. All right. So until the next time, I'll be blessed and take care. Jabbar Brown signing out.